Well, it's been a month and a day since my last upload, so thank you for your patience. It's been a while, so we should probably review. I'm an atheist witch who does not believe in the supernatural. I use the open label placebo effect to brighten my mood in the form of witchcraft. Yes, you can still use a placebo even if you know it's a placebo, and I have a whole video on that called Can You Be an Atheist Witch? So you should check that out if you haven't already, and that will kind of give you some foundation for what we're going to talk about today. The fancy word for dying an atheist death is called eternal oblivion. It means you're nothing, you're born, you're on this earth for a blip, and then back to nothing again. An alternative view is the view of reincarnation, and just like any other belief, there are as many versions of reincarnation as there are believers. To try to put it plainly, your body is just a shell, and the you is actually a soul, and the soul lives on forever. And at your death, the shell dies, and then the soul goes into a holding space and then will return in another shell to live another life. And you progressively do this to attain knowledge and information, the end goal being some kind of a truth or enlightenment in which you reach the end of the sequence and you are able to reach your end goal, which may be like an afterlife. It's like a ladder that you can move up and down, but you can't get off. So if this model's purpose is to gain ultimate knowledge and understanding, then it would be great if you could keep all that information from one life to the next, because otherwise you're like Sisyphus, like pushing the rock up the hill and never making any progress. I mean, could you gain a PhD if you couldn't collect information from kindergarten to elementary, or you couldn't keep information from elementary when moving into middle school? Like, you have to be able to build on that past knowledge in order to attain that eventual goal. So if your goal is ultimate understanding, then why don't you get to keep that information from your past lives? One common explanation for this is that you're not actually gaining overall knowledge from one life to the next. You're gaining a status on the ladder from one life to the next. So if you live a good life, then you're going to be born a higher rung on the ladder, which will give you more opportunities to reach that understanding. So you might be born closer to teachers who can instill that wisdom onto you. You might be born into a more comfortable life that will give you more time for studying. So the flip side of this would be misspending your life and then waking up as a baby lower on the ladder with a more difficult life that you have to work harder to get toward that understanding. Kind of yikes. This is prosperity gospel BS. It is a spiritual caste system where if you're living a comfortable life, it's because past self you, past life you has worked really hard to earn that position. And people who are struggling are, earning a higher spot on that ladder instead of a reasonable explanation, which is just sort of a lottery of birth. Like a random chance that you are in the situation that you're in. Not everyone follows this cruel caste system of why you've been assigned a particular life. I did read something by a religious philosopher that said that the reason that people don't have information from their past lives is because most souls are new or fairly new, and so they're really naive and they're not very well connected to that part of the consciousness that holds those past lives, which actually kind of makes sense because that would also explain the population growing exponentially, like where are all these new souls coming from? But there are people who claim to be able to tune into their past lives. They were painters, princesses, warriors, but they can't actually use any of the skills from their past lives. If they were a tailor and you put them in front of a sewing machine, they probably wouldn't be able to sew you anything. The painters aren't able to paint. They describe the memories and information as being really, really foggy, so I'm wondering how useful it is to help them in their daily life. Also, honestly, these claims don't hold up to skeptical review. I'm not even going to get into the tomfoolery that is the work of Ian Stevenson. That's the guy that wrote at length about children who report past lives when they're going through intense interviews. Part of his writings were about birthmarks that were supposed to be located where the fatal injury had occurred from the past life, but some of these birthmarks would fade away, almost as if they'd been placed there with henna. It's all very fishy. So I'm trying to answer questions, and honestly, I just came up with more questions. So here are 3 questions that sort of baffled me while I was looking up information about reincarnation for this video. All humans are wrapped up in this reincarnation system. Then why are reports of remembering instances from past lives? Why are these reports more common in cultures where reincarnation is accepted in their local traditions? Many of Stevenson's interviewees were children in India, where reincarnation is well known, talked about, and accepted. Why don't we see more children having these past life memories in a place where it may not be as culturally known, like, maybe a Baptist kid in the South? So if it's a universal truth and not based on culture and tradition, then why are we seeing it in very specific areas? Why is it more evenly dispersed? Why don't we have children who are Southern Baptists having these accounts of past life experiences? Question number 2, if all humans are part of this system, then why do the rules of the system vary so much depending on the culture of the person? For example, if you hold a belief that your soul has a binary gender, then when you regress into your past lives, all of your past lives will be that same gender. Whereas if you are from a culture where it's expected that your soul does not have a gender, then when you regress into your past lives, you will see a variety of genders. Okay, so number 3, and this is a big one, when people are regressing into their past lives, sometimes they're recorded, like audio or video. And why is it that they don't use the dialect of the person who they're regressing into? Like, why don't they speak that language? Why don't they use idioms from that time period? Why are they always speaking, like, for example, contemporary American English? Sometimes they'll have sort of a Hollywood accent thrown on top of the English, but it doesn't make sense if you're speaking with somebody from a certain time and a place. Like, when they speak a language and when they speak an ancient version of that language. When I first started researching for this video, my intention was not to roast reincarnation. I did not want to insult people who believe in reincarnation, and I do not want to try to disprove reincarnation. Insulting people's belief is a crummy, dark thing to do, and I don't want to even go there with my channel. And trying to prove a negative is a fool's errand. I think that's why this video has taken me over 2 months to put together. It's like the Twin Flames video all over again. I just am trying to answer a question, and I keep pulling up more and more questions and finding a lot of content that just perplexes me, and now this video is just a mess. So I did come into this video with one question, and I'm just going to put it to you because I'm not any closer to an answer to this question than I was when I started. And here's my question, and I'm going to read it. If we are all reincarnated, but the vast majority of us won't remember a moment from past lives, then what is the difference between reincarnation and eternal oblivion? Really? So if I view myself as a collection of my memories, then I'm just me. If I don't remember something from a past life, then that's not me. And if I die and I become this being with memories from all these past lives before I get shot into another body, then whatever I have just turned into isn't me either. So if there is a symbiont being inside of me that is gaining some sort of something from my life and is going to live on after me, that's pretty cool. And I'm really happy to be part of that system. However, is that organism me? If it doesn't retain my memories to the next life, then I don't think that it is. And in that case, this is still the only life that I have. So sorry to get so deep and dark on this video, but like I said, I've been really like struggling with it, and I put too much work into it to just throw it out and never make it. So I know this is a hot mess. I know the comments might be a little rough on me. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So far, you guys have been really forgiving toward me, so hopefully this is no different. I definitely want to put together some lighter videos. I just don't have the brain space for really in-depth content right now. I don't even know if you guys have the brain space to deal with really in-depth content right now. I think I want to put together just some really like beautiful videos, or maybe like, I don't know, more like story time videos that are fun. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But thank you for sitting with me, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.